FOL. Okay, so go to content. I want you to download this tool, Lab 6 menu, okay, and Lab 6 zip folder. Alright, once you download it, then you create a week 6 folder. Alright, so I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put everything else in this folder first. So once you have this folder, and with your lab zip folder uninstalled, I want you to copy this to folder. Okay, I want you to copy this to folder, put in here. The first one is called many folder. Okay, and the other one is mounting. There's a two project we're going to do today. So here's the lab menu, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this side by side with my NX. Okay, so in the meantime, so we will do this first. Okay, we will do this manifold assembly first. Let me copy this. So I will be able to let me make sure they're side by side. Okay. Open this manifold. Okay. Okay. So once you open the folder, open this file. You can see I would like to have my part navigator and assembly navigator being put side by side, so I will be able to see it more clearly, right? So relationship of them. So here's the, let me bring the this part to here. Here's the final result of the first portion of the slab, right? So you can see here we have three we have three user-defined expression, and this assembly type we can either define it as a flexed or rigid, right? You can see when it's equal to flat, then you see this connection, there's two T pipe being connected by a flex line, right? So if we use rigid, then it appears like this. All right, so you can manipulate your assembly in a different arrangement or different assembly type by using this expressions. Okay, how to achieve this and how to create those based on the two parts, okay, two T pipes and two bunches. How to do that? We're going to start. Okay. When you open this file, which is downloaded from FOL, let's examine it first. Okay, so we have two bunches. Okay, two bunches. We can unpack it. You can see here there's a bunch. Here's another bunch. They are the same parts being used has two components, right? And we have a T pipe, which is at the top, and P pipe B, which is at the bottom, right? You can see here we also have two constraints, right? Two constraints, okay? Fixed for pipe T pipe A and fixed T pipe B. They are fixed. What does that mean? That means if you are trying to move these two components, say this one, which is pipe B, right? Pipe B at the bottom. We try to move it. It says you're trying to move a fixed component. Are you sure to move it? Right? If you says yes, you will be able to move it, and then in the new location, the fixed will be the fixed constraint will apply again. All right, so it goes to a new location. So I'm not going to change it at this moment. I'm going to try this one, right? So try bunch, okay, this bunch, okay, at the bottom, and then if I try to move it, yeah, I will be able to move it, right? So okay, so use different handle here, okay, option here. We will be able to move it in a different way, okay, right? You should know how to use it. And here, if we use shift and click, deselect this component, and then we can select another one and go back to specify orientation, right? So we will be able to move this two, right? So that means this two, there's no constraints for these two boundaries, right? Okay, that's the situation. Hit OK. So what we're going to do, we need to use assembly constraint to make sure our relationship between the components is properly created, right? So let me put this one along with this T slot first, okay? T pipe, not move, okay, but make constraint. So most of the constraints can be made using touch align, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to select this center line, okay? So click it, select the proper center line, this center line or this center line. Which one? They are coincident, right? So in this case, there's no difference, okay? So I'm going to choose this one, and then make sure this aligned with the cylinder. So I can choose the cylinder, center line of this pipe too, right? So okay, they're the same. Okay, one is outside cylinder, one is inside cylinder, which is correct. And then we would like to make this face attached with this face. Okay, so I'm going to do the demonstration first, right? So you do it, okay, and I'm going to record it, so you will be able to review it later. Okay, I will do this first. Okay, and then if you have any question, ask me. All right, so if I'm going to again, right, align. Okay, so I'm going to choose this face. Okay, make sure you choose the correct one, right? So this face, this top face, and then I want to touch on this face, right? So either you can choose from the list or you can rotate it, okay? Use the rotate, okay? And then remain, and I'm going to select this face. Okay, examine it. It's correct. Then I'm going to use either isometric view or geometric view, right? So this one is correctly positioned, and then I'm going to put this one too. Same thing, right? Center line. Okay, and then let me see the center line of pipe B, right? Center line. Okay, and then this top face, and the face on the side, on the other side of the sponge. Okay. If you can see here, it's okay. Now you can see there's a new constraints have been created, right? Not just move it to here, okay? But constraints. That means the relationship between these two components and the relationship between these two components being created. And if I'm going to save it at this moment. If you're going to move this one, it will go with it, right? Let's try it. Move this component, specify, and it says, okay, I'm going to say yes. If I move it, you can see, because the constraint have been created, so what's happening is the relationship ask this center line being aligned with the center line of this one, and always the two faces touch together, right? So because I don't want to change the position, I cancel it, hit OK, and it go back to the original position. And you can see my components is not, my part is not modified. Okay, so this is the first step. We created and arranged our components together. Alright, any questions so far? Okay, as I said, right, so if you want to try to move it, it will ask you, right? It will ask you, okay, are you trying to move a fixed component? Right? It asks you, okay, give you an option, right? Are you really sure? Okay. So if you said yes, then it will temporarily, as a background, temporarily suppress the fixed. Okay, same thing like this, right? Same thing like this. So if you're going to say this is A, right? So if you suppress this one, you will be able to move it, right? Okay, right? What is actually being done is if you unsuppress this one, so when you create, okay, when you try to move it, you say yes, as the background, this have been suppressed, okay, suppressed, and then what's happening is, if you hit OK at a new position, then the suppression being deleted and the fix will be recreated. Is that clear? Bashar? Okay, so I'm not going to change it, right? So that's why I go to suppressed. Okay, so I set cancel, right? So I'm satisfied with what do I have now, and then I'm going to save my file at this point. Remember, you always save your file when you're satisfied with your components, okay, your modification. All right, so I'm going to unpack this again, right? Pack this again. All right, next step, we will create the pipe, okay, create the pipe, and also make sure this pipe is associated with this two, right? So if we look at this one, so it asks us to create a new file, which is flex underscore line. Okay, so I'm going to create a new file, right? So make sure your top assembly is your work part, right? So create a new and make sure it is the folder is in the correct position. Okay, so it will be flex underscore line, I'm going to put my initial here. You're going to put yours. Okay, so inches is the default because your current work party is in inches, and I'm going to hit OK. Right? It says here, right? Select object. Do you want to create any? Select any object to create new components, right? So we don't need to create a new sub-assembly. So we're not going to create select any object, right? So the component's name will be flex underscore line underscore my initial, and reference set entire part. Okay, entire part. And if you want, you can use model or empty, right? So we're going to use the default settings. Level original. Okay, level layer option will be original. So absolute origin will be component will be used. You can use WCS. You can use absolute. Okay, depends on what you are going to do. In this case, we're going to use absolute. Okay, this says delete original objects because we don't have any thing being selected, so we leave it here. Be careful, right? So if you do want to delete original objects, then you want to make this active. So usually we don't. Okay, usually we don't, and hit OK. Make sure we use absolute component origin, right? So hit OK now, and then you can see a new part with the name flex underscore line underscore LX is being created. Okay, so I want, and the assembly is being modified as well, right? So if we look at the folder, if we will let me see, if we look at the folder which is here, we don't have the new file being saved yet, right? So because you haven't saved it yet. Okay, I'm going to save it at this moment. Save the top assembly. I'm going to save it. What's happening? You can see all the files being saved, and also the new file being saved on your disk as well, right? So there's a situation. Make sure, right? So you make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, so once we have this, we're ready to make our parts, right? We're ready to make our parts. Next step in the assembly, change the reference set of the branches to curve, right? So let's see, we're going to change the reference to curve. Okay, curve. You have true, you curve. Okay, so currently it is true, right? So let's choose curve to see what's happening. You can see the solid body is disappeared, right? We don't see the solid body anymore. What's happening is the reference set does not include the solid body. Okay, we're supposed to see the two lines which have been displayed and will be used for us in assembly. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the layer setting. Check the layer setting. You can see 22. Layer set 22 is deactivated, right? So we want to activate this one. You can see once we activate it, okay, make this to 22, layer 22 selectable. Okay, then it will allow us to see the curve. Hit close. Okay, now we're ready, right? We're ready. So what we're going to do next, we're going to create wave geometry link in this new file, flex underscore line, right? So then use this two line to create our pipe, okay, as a reference to our pipe. However, this two curve belongs to the boundaries, not belongs to this part, right? How we're going to do that, how we're going to use it properly. So basically you're going to copy, okay, copy its shape and location to of these two curves, okay, two straight lines to the flex line, okay. That's what we're going to do. So if you are going to create something in this part, then you need to put this one, make this one to be a work part, right? So right click, make our new part being work part, okay, work part. So you can see here when you create, you see this is belongs to the bunch, right? This belongs to the bunch, okay. This is also belong to the bunch, okay. It's not belong to the flex underscore line underscore LSS, which is a new part. So we go to assembly and go to wave geometry link, okay, wave geometry link. So we have different options, okay. So here first is a composite curve. This is what we're going to use, okay. If you're going to use any datum, use any faces, use any bodies as your reference, then you can choose different types. Here we use composite curve, right? So one, let's see, we don't have anything here, right? We don't have anything in the part navigator yet. So we hit, make sure this one is associative, right? So associative. Okay. So join curve, no, nothing, right? So set as the, okay, set this as the default. Hit apply. What happened is, you can see a new curve is being created, which is curve 1. Okay, so once you've done this one, we want to create the other one. Same method. This time we hit OK. You can see one is at the bottom, one is at the above. Right? Once you have this, you will be able to use these two curves to create your pipes as a reference to create your pipes. Since we already copied this one, we're ready to work on this alone, right? So we make this display part. Make sure there are two, if you don't hide it, there are two curves, okay? There are two curves overlapped here, okay? One is the line, curve 1, another one is in the bunch, okay? So pay attention to that, okay? So to avoid any mistakes, you want to work on your flex only, okay? Flex line only. And I'm going to make this display part and use geometric view. Okay, you can see two curves being displayed here. Alright, so you don't see any other, and you will not make a mistake if you select other component or curves or elements from other components or assembly, right? So now you're ready to make this pipe, right? How to make this pipe? First, we're going to use bridge curve. Okay, bridge curve. We're going to use a bridge curve to create to join these two segments together. Okay, so bridge curve. Okay, if you cannot find it, what you can do? You can use command finder, right? You can use command finder. All right, so you can see here. If you don't see the same window as I have, make sure you check here, use more, right? Use more. Then you have all more options. All the options will be available for you to use. Okay, so start object, right? Start object and continue connectivity, right? If you use G0, then it will be position. If you choose 1, it will be tangent, right? So I'm going to choose. Make sure you use this end, click this end, not this end. If you try to click this end, then it will the system may think you are going to start your curve from here, right? So I'm going to choose this one, right? Choose this one. Okay, this is my point. Okay, this is my point. Start our tangent line. Okay, so end object. I'm going to again, right? Make sure it's tangent, not G1, right? So not G2. If not G0. If G0, it will be excuse me. It will be connected straight line, right? Connected by straight line. Okay, so again, you choose this end, not this end, right? So make a cursor. Okay, so you can see here. You can also check those parameters. Currently, in this situation, we just use the default. Okay, just use default. Make sure what you have here is smoothly connected, right? Smoothly connected these two straight lines. Okay, so this is a straight line being created using a bridge curve. Any questions? So at this moment, I'm satisfied with my joint curve, and I'm going to save it. Next step, we're going to create the pipe. Okay, we're going to create a pipe. So then we can use a tube. Okay, we can use a tube, and this time make sure you use multiple settings. Okay, use multiple settings. Outer diameter and inner diameter, if you're going to use 0, okay, what's happening is it will you give 0, it will give you a solid rod, right? So and you can choose the diameter and inner diameter and outer diameter, because this is a pipe, right? So we should have inner and outer diameter. So what we're going to do, we're going to use to make it more smart, right? So we're going to use formula. Okay, we're going to use a formula. What we know here is if you examine the part, okay, if you examine the part, you will see. Let me go back to Flange, right? So we would like to make the inner diameter. If we look at the sponge, okay. Show this one. We would like to make the inner diameter equal to this cylinder, right? Equal to this cylinder, or the diameter of the cylinder, and outer diameter probably close to this area or so, right? So what we can do here, if you look at this part, okay, make this display part. Let's make this display part. This the shape is actually determined by this, okay, determined by this sketch, right? So if we look at the sketch, you can see here, examine it. So this diameter is being determined by this P0, right? determined by this, not this one, sorry, by this one, P2, right? P2, okay, by P2, and this one is determined by P0 and P8, right? So, alright, so if we want to make the pipe inner diameter equal to this side, then we can just use P2 and times 2. And if we want to make the outer diameter equal to this side, then we can use P0 plus P8 times 2 to get the diameter, right? So what we can do here, we can inner diameter, outer diameter. I think this outer diameter need to use a new interpart expression, which is a bunch, right? So outer diameter, it will be which is, let me see, we say P0 and P0 and P8, right? And P8. It okay. Now you can see here we would like to make this one equal to equal to P8 times 2, right? Times 2. And you see, should be alright. Hit OK. Alright, so, and this one should be equal to P2. Yes, so because this one has the same name existing in the current part, right? So it's been renamed, and this one times 2. Okay, so you can see here the formula is given. Hit OK. All right, here's the pipe. I'm going to save it for now. Okay, there's one thing here I want to mention here. So we choose multiple segments, right? Multiple segments. Then the result seems, if we choose a single segment to see what's happening, right? You see, it's smoothly, okay, right? Smoothly displayed here. Okay, so however, we would like to use multiple segments, right? So then the result will be like this. All right, hit OK. So each of this is roughly a cylinder. Okay, each of this is roughly a cylinder, but it's not. Okay, it's not. Okay, so once we create this one, what we're going to do, we're going to display the main assembly. All right, you can see, right, what's happening. There's a gap between there, right? There's a gap between what's happening, because we need to change the reference back to true. Once we've done this, then the bunch only shows the solid body. Okay, and here as well, right? Once you're done, we're going to save this one. All right. Okay, so what's next? We're going to create the suppressions, right? Right click this, then this, and right click the flags and the bunches, and right click, suppression, control by expression. I'm going to say use 1 and hit apply. Okay. Oh, let me see. Okay. All right. If this equal to 0, okay, expression. Okay, so let's delete this one. I think I made this one. Right. Okay. So that's a situation. Okay. Let me Control E. 0. Right. So this two being suppressed. All right. So that's the situation. Okay. So once you suppress this one, because there are some constraints are associated with this components, right? So then you can see there are some warning sign being given here, right? Not error, right? Not error, but okay. So all right. Okay. Any questions so far? Let me undo this, right? Okay. Let me undo this. Okay. All right. So what you are going to do here, right? Two bunches. You select both of this one. Okay. Look at here. Look at here. Okay. The tube is being created, right? So next one, and set the reference to be the true, right? Select the two bunches and the flex pipe in assembly navigator. Right click and select suppression, right? From the list you will be presented with the following dialog box. Okay, this one, right? Okay, in assembly. Okay, and then turn off the three parts. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, right click. Okay, and here's suppression, right? So you can see here by default is never suppression, right? So that means you will be able to use it. So you are going to use this one controlled by suppression. Okay, so I'm going to put 0 here and hit OK. You can see this two being suppressed. Okay, so here I'm going to save it. I'm going to go to expression. You can see here P0 is the one being used to control suppression status of my three components here. If I'm going to make this one to E1, what's happening? What will happen? You see? Then it will be going back, right? Okay. You got it? Okay, if I'm going to change this to 1, 0 again, then it will be suppressed. Okay. Alright. Any questions so far for this demonstration? for your issue, we can discuss later. Okay. All right. So this is for this. I'm going to save it for now. Then go to next step. Right. Go to next step. Okay. So we're going to create the jog pipe. Right. So this which is okay, which is rigid, right? Okay, which is looks like this, and this one is different. Allow us to create something, create a smart pipes. Okay, create the pipes, which allows us to I think there's something being broken, the link being broken, that's why. Okay, so when we move this two pipe, when we move this jog pipe, then this two pipe will change its dimensions. We will see how to create this. Okay, so follow the instruction here. First, we need to create a new pipe, right? So create a new pipe. Add the pipe, right? So add the pipe. It's not here, so we need to browse, right? So jog pipe, we did here. Hit OK. We would like to use absolute origin, right? So absolute origin. Okay, hit OK. Then you can see the part is being put here. Okay, and then I'm going to move this part. Okay, move this part in Z position. Okay, so move this. We can move it here. Moved in Z position. Put anywhere, right? Put anywhere in between. So, all right. So once you add this one, I'm going to save it. So I have this part. You can see this one is aligned with this T, and this end aligned with this T pipe, right? So it's okay now. Anywhere, okay? Doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to create the pipe, connect from here to here. All right, so what's the next step? It asks you to create this one. We already did. Okay, S pipe A, create a new pipe, right? Create a new pipe. So make sure in the same correct folder. Okay, so this one is S pipe A. I'm going to put my initial. You use your own initial, right? So I'm going to use absolute, right? Okay, you can see here. Okay. All right. Now I have this one, right? New part is being created, and I'm going to save it. Once I save it, then I should be able to see this in my folder, right? Before that, it's not being saved on your disk. As I said, you always want to save your file after you make satisfy if you're satisfied with your modifications. Okay, all right. What's next? We're going to change the reference set to all the component to entire part, right? So we're going to make this one to entire part. You can see, then we will be able to see everything in this component, right? So reference set, entire part. Now you can see curves, what's that called? Datums, right? And so on. Datum coordinate system, sketches, everything we'll be able to see. Okay, all right. So and then turn on the layer 61 and 62 to see the datum coordinate system in the datum plane or the datum plane, right? So Control L is the layer setting, right? 61, 62. All right. So if we turn off 61, what do we see? The datum coordinate system disappeared, right? So 62, what's happening? The datum, additional datum being disappeared, right? So that's the situation. So you can use reference set and the layer come together to control your display. Okay, all right. Once you've done this, then next step, we're going to use this reference, right? We're going to use this reference to create our pipes. All right, so constrain the datum system of the newly added part to the z-axis of the datum. All right, so what we're going to do, so this one, right? This one, you're going to make sure, okay, make sure this one, okay, I'm going to move this part first, okay, move this part first, this part, okay, and move it, right, to anywhere. Hit OK, right? So it's there, and then I'm going to make sure this z-axis aligned with this axis, right? So this is what it said. Okay, axis, z-axis of the datum t, tb, and tb, right? And sorry, yes, and xy datum coordinate system. All right, so constraint align z-axis, okay, z-axis with what? With TB, right? Z-axis of the TB. Okay, of the TB, Z of the TB. All right. So not the system, right? But the TB. All right. Okay. What's next? I'm going to put yes. Okay. And then I'm going to hide this one because you can see here. Refresh. Okay, we have a coordinate system here. We also have a coordinate system for B, right? If you look at here, right? Okay. All right. You can see. Okay, we have a different coordinate system here, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure, okay, the newly constrain the datum coordinate system, all right, and then making the new created part. Okay, make it larger, read it clearly, right? So constrain the datum of the newly added to Z of the datum coordinate system T pipe and its Y XY plane to the datum plane of this part, right? So okay, so this XY plane to XY plane of this one, right? Okay, let me do this. Just give me a second. Make the newly part launch the wave geometry link 2, but this time change the type to datum plane, right? So okay, this is the position of my components, right? So I'm going to add one more constraint, which is this plane to the plane of my T pipe B, right? This is what we want. Okay, once we've done this, then they aligned each other. All right, okay, next step, make the newly created part, work part, launch the wave geometry link, but this time change it to type for datum plane, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to make this part in my work part. You can double click it or you can right click, make it. Okay, so this time wave geometry link, and this time we're going to use datum, right? Datum. Okay, so what we're going to do? We're going to use this pipe, this plane, and this plane as a reference. Okay, this two datum plane as a reference to create our pipe, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to click this one, make it associative, apply, and then you can see a datum plane, linked datum plane is created in my pipe S pipe A, and then we'll do the same for here. Okay, then you can see I have two datum plane being created, right? Okay, now I'm going to make this my display part. You can see I have my origin, coordinate system, and I have two planes. Okay, all right. So in this time we're going to create the pipe. Okay, select the lower datum plane and okay, create a sketch, right, in XY plane. That's a profile. Okay, so here's the plane we're going to create, right? So we're going to create the origin. This is 0.75, right? And then the other one, the center arc, this one will be P0 minus 0.06. I think this one is being over constrained, so I'm going to delete this one. Okay. Okay. P0 minus 0.06. All right. So my sketch is done. All right. Once I do this, I will be able to extrude it to create my pipe. All right. Okay, so I'm going to choose the curve section, and this one will be NT selected, and the end is also NT selected. Alright, so preview, satisfied, yes, and then I save it. Right, once I save this one, you can see I'm going to go back to here. Right, you see, here's my pipe at the bottom. Okay, the pipe at the bottom, and what's happening here is if we're going to move this part, okay, move this part down, hit OK, then the length of this pipe will be updated when this datum being moved to a new position. That's the beauty of the this model, right? That's the beauty of this model. We're going to do the same for this part. First, we create a new file called S underscore pipe B with by initial. Do the same thing. Hit OK. And then I'm going to move this one to a new location. Hit OK. And then I'm going to make sure this one aligned with this one, right? So constraint, this one aligned with this z-axis, and this one aligned with my plane, XY plane of TA. Right, so if you wish, you can flip it, but I think it's okay. Right, so this is not important at this moment. So this is my part. I'm going to make this my work part. So I will be able to make a wave geometry link of this plane and this plane to my new part. Okay, double click it. Okay, then wave geometry link. We don't have anything here except this datum coordinate system, right? So which is this one, right? So datum going to be this apply associative, right? Must be associative, right? So that means whenever this been changed, then the copy will be changed. The wave geometry link will be also changed, right? So then this part. Okay, now I have this two, right? So do it again, isometric view. Then we're going to use this two reference to create our part, right? So make this one my display part to avoid any mistake being made. So we're going to do the same, create a sketch, hit OK. And then we're going to say create a .75, right? And then one more. This one P0 minus 0.06. And then the center will be arc center. So make sure they are coincident. Alright, so this is my profile. Okay, same thing, extrude, use this one as my profile, and then select it, and then end also until selected. Okay, this is my part. I'm going to save this part and then go back to my assembly. Right, you can see. Okay, again, if I move this part, what's happening here? The both new components will be updated, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to change its reference set to model. Then you will not be able to see the extra material elements and make our part or assembly very clear, right? Clean and clear. Okay, so in this way we will be able to click it, right? So what's next? Okay, create a suppression, right? Okay, same as before. Okay, so we're going to make this one the jaw pipe and the S pipes suppression with the same thing, right? 0 hit. Okay, you see both of them are suppressed. You can see here, right? So P1, P0. Okay, so here, okay, here you can see here we can make this one, okay, make this one to be our expressions to control the suppressions of this part. I'm going to leave this one by yourself to create it. Okay, I'm going to leave this by yourself to create it. Save as, and then I'm going to close this one. All right, this is this part. Okay, now for the next part, mounting. Okay, this is more easy. Okay, this is more easy. So open the part. So go to this mount. Okay, mountings. Open the mounting. Right. So you can see this is assembly. Right. Assembly with the casting here. Okay. So we're going to add the flange. Okay. We're going to add a flange. So just go to add. Okay, so open the flange. Okay, hit OK. Absolute origin, that's fine, right? So we're going to move this one to any location. Hit OK. All right, what we're going to do? We're going to make sure this one, the center line, is aligned with this center line hole, and then this one go back to here, point a quarter inches step right into it. Okay, so we're going to make a constraint. First, the center line aligned with this whole center line. All right, and then once you're done, you can see this is being created. And then distance, right? Distance, we're going to make sure this face and the face between these two is 1/4 inch, right? 0.25, right? Okay, you can see here. All right, you see. However, we would like to make this one. We would like to make this one go deep, right? So we can modify it. Minus, right? Okay, hit OK. All right. How do you know this is go into it? It's difficult to see it, right? So what we can do here, we can use section view. Okay. So you should be able to use this. Okay. So I'm going to use X. You can see here, right? So there's a overlap, right? So that means here's this face is a 1/4 inch below this top surface. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this one without any section view. All right, so what's next? We're going to switch reference set to flange part, okay, to a fall. So flange reference set false, and then turn on 99. You can see here this is here's something being created, right? So if we hide this one, okay, if we hide this one, you can see the shape of this shape is like this, right? So which is associated to the our flange part, right? So if we see the reference entire part and L, right? If we see everything, okay, then we will not be able to. Okay, so reference set model reference set, reference set true. Oh, sorry, I think I used this one, right? Entire part. Okay, so all right, so let me hide this one. You see, this is associated to our parts, right? Okay. All right, so let's go back to reference set model, show reference set false, and okay, so we're going to use this one. We're going to use this one to create the cavity, right? To create a cavity. Okay, so set the work part to be the casting part. Okay, right? You can see. Okay, and then we can wave geometry link to this. Okay, so go back to here, wave geometry link. This time it's body, right? It's body. Okay, circular body in the layer 99. Hit OK. Associative, make sure, right? Associative, right? So once you have this one, then we will be able to modify our parts. Use this tool. Okay, so turn on layer 99. We already did this one, so we're going to use subtract. Okay, we talked about this and use the tool. You can see here, hit OK. Right, once we subtract, then we will be able to make this part. Okay, right, so once you're done, I'm going to save this file. Change the reference set to the flange part. Okay, So we're going to go to here. All right, what's next? Flange. Okay, we're going to change this one to change the ref set of the flange part to entire part, right? Entire part. Okay. Ensure the part layer 21 is turned on. Okay. 21. It is. Okay. And then you can see the sketch, right? The sketch. We will be able to see the sketch. Let me. Okay, you can see here the sketch is being shown here, right? Okay. We're going to link this. Okay, we're going to link this sketch. Okay, we're going to link this sketch. Switch its display part to the casting part. Okay, wave geometry link. Wave geometry link. Sketch. Okay. We need to make sure. We need to make sure the casting, right? The casting is our part. Okay, the casting is our part. Okay, so with geometry link, sketch. We want to select this sketch, right? Sketch 001 of flange. Okay. Okay. Once you create this, then make this part. You can see the sketch, the linked sketch is being created here. We're going to save it, and then we're going to create the hole based on this, right? So what we're going to do, go to home, hole, threaded hole, right? Threaded hole. Oh, so the size is, make sure your standard is UNC, right? Inches. Okay, inches UNC. If you don't have inches UNC, then you will get trouble. Okay, you may not be able to see this size. Okay, so the size is 12-13, right? Half inch. Okay, and you can see here the thread depth is automatic even, right? So you want to make sure this is the depth. The tapping depth is 2 times the diameter, right? Drill diameter, right? The drill diameter. Then we can make this one 2 times diameter. Okay, 2 times diameter, right? Okay, 2 times diameter, and then the depth is being to be 1.5, right? Yes, 1.5 inches. Okay, so you specify point. This point is the sketch. Okay, is the sketch, right? If you select the sketch, then all the points will be selected at once. And here's the result. You can see here symbolic thread is being created, and I'm going to save this one. This is the part we created. Okay, now let's go back to flange, make it true. Again, you can see. Alright, when you see this part, okay, when you see this part and the assembly, they have this relationship. Okay, alright, so then the both parent is now linked it without use of any interpart expression, right? We don't need to use any interpart expression in this case. All right, so once you're done, you're going to save it. And here, okay, if you have say any cascade, right? Cascade between this flange and this cast. For example, you need to add a cascade between them. How you're going to make this work? Okay, so that's that's a problem I leave for yourself. Okay. Any questions so far? I'll leave this one for you as well, right? You're going to try this by yourself.